Three strangers are sewn head to tail by a doctor, sharing the same digestive system. The food the first person eats eventually comes out from the third person. This isn't just physical torture, it's complete mental destruction. After watching this film, you'll truly understand the phrase, living worse than death. Like never before, Dr. Hyder was once a top local surgeon. He spent his whole career separating conjoined twins. But in his old age, he had a wild idea to figure out how to reattach people. He started by experimenting on dogs. Not only did he eliminate rejection, but kept them alive for 3 whole months. That success gave him huge confidence, and soon he turned his attention to humans. That's when an unlucky driver happened to pass by. The doctor saw no one around and no cameras. He pulled out a tranquilizer gun and quietly followed. Hua said. But building a human centipede requires at least 3 people. Picking the other 2 was giving him trouble. Just as he was worrying about it, unexpectedly, ready-made prey showed up on their own. These 2 were Lindsay and Jenny, college students from New York. They had planned a trip to Europe for the holidays, but their rental car got a flat tire along the way. As students, the 2 of them had no idea how to change a spare tire, so they pulled out their phones to call the rental company. But the signal out in the middle of nowhere was terrible. They'd probably need a landline to get through. Just as they were standing there helpless, a car slowly pulled up beside them. They quickly rolled down their windows to ask for help, but the driver didn't understand a word of English. He even thought they were girls working the late-night streets. She started off saying some creepy stuff. Jenny and Lindsay's German was pretty bad, so they could barely communicate without a dictionary. After they figured out what he meant, they freaked out and quickly shut the windows and locked the doors. They were terrified he might do something wild. Luckily, he didn't push it. He drove off after a bit. After that little incident, they didn't dare just sit in the car, so they decided to head through the woods and try to find nearby residents for help. But they hadn't gone far when a heavy rainstorm suddenly hit. Luckily, a house nearby still had the lights on. Soaked to the bone, they didn't hesitate and immediately ran up to knock on the door, explaining their car had a flat tire and hoping to borrow a phone to call for help. But neither of them noticed a small tombstone in the yard. That read, "My dear conjoined dogs. Yes, it's just the 2 of us." Huang said. Though they felt a bit uneasy, they had nowhere else to go, so they went inside, hoping for the best. After leading them to the living room, the doctor said he could help them call for a tow. But before that, he felt he needed to verify their identities first. After all, they were strangers. The 2 girls quickly explained that they were college students traveling through the area. As soon as help arrived, they'd be on their way and wouldn't keep the homeowner up. "Are you related by blood?" No, we're just friends." After getting a negative answer, the doctor finally got up and left, satisfied. Soon, the sound of a phone call came from the kitchen. Boo said. This finally let the 2 anxious folks breathe a sigh of relief, saying, but what they didn't know was, Boo said, the call to the doctor was never even connected. Boo said they also dropped 2 drugging pills into the water at the same time. Then he calmly told the 2 of them, "Rescue won't be here for another half hour," Boo said. "Booyah, you can start by drinking a cup of warm water to warm up." Soon, Jenny, who had drunk a lot of water, started to look dazed, but Lindsay had drunk less. "I can still barely move around for now." The doctor finally laid it all out, saying, "They said he spiked the water with a CNS depressant. They say this medicine can cause dizziness and drowsiness. In severe cases, you could even lose your memory." Lindsay crawled desperately toward the door, saying, "But the doctor had already covered both bases," Boo said. He pulled out a syringe, looking displeased. He drove the blade hard into the back of Lindsay's neck, Boo said. When she opened her eyes again, Boo said, "Found himself lying on an iron frame bed," Boo said. "My limbs were all wrapped up in bandages, couldn't move a bit. Next to her is Jenny, tied up just like her," Boo said, "and on the far right is that truck driver from earlier." Desperate screams woke Jenny up, Boo said. Right in front of those 2 girls. It was just under 10 seconds. The driver went completely quiet. After dealing with all that, the doctor went out again. This time he brought back an Asian man. Another Japanese tourist visiting the area, the doctor used his unique way of hospitality to wake Meko up from unconsciousness. Boo said the doctor didn't pay them much attention. Instead, he casually put on his white coat, Boo said, then walked back to face the 3 of them, Boo said, and began a spine-chilling self-introduction. He said he was a retired surgeon, Boo said. Throughout his career, he had performed 17 conjoined twin separations. Pin. Every single one a textbook-level success, Boo said. But now he wanted to reverse the process. Boo said, taking separate individuals, Sue said, and stitching them into one new life, Boo said, while keeping all organs functioning perfectly. Boo said. His reason for doing this was simple. Just to prove his skills and satisfy his sick, twisted sense of achievement, Boo said. As for the surgical procedure, sure. The doctor generously explained it step by step, Boo said. First, he'd sever their joint ligaments, Boo said, so they couldn't stand and tear the wounds open. Then pull out the back tooth incisors and canines, Boo said, to keep the digestive system clear, Shwo. Finally, cut the front person's buttock skin and stitch it right into the next guy's cheeks. So all the waste goes straight into the third person's body, a fully sealed digestive tract. One eats, all three share. This is the human snail he wanted to build. Intro's over, surgery's officially starting. Let's kick things off with breakfast. Wait, hold up. It's just a regular anesthetic. Wait. No. Once the Japanese guy was out cold, the doctor moved over to Jenny. As the anesthetic slowly pushed in, Jenny's eyes filled with despair. That's when Lindsay suddenly realized the restraints on her wrists had actually loosened from her earlier struggles. She grabbed them with her teeth and yanked hard. Before the doctor could even notice, she'd already freed herself from all the restraints. In her rush to escape, she completely forgot about the IV in her arm. She tore right through the vein. Lindsay wasn't even thinking about the pain. She just bit down hard and frantically searched for an exit. Meanwhile, the doctor wasn't worried at all, because he knew every window and door in this place had already been sealed shut by him. There was absolutely no way out. In her desperation, Lindsay could only hide in a room and immediately lock the door tight. She pressed her ear against the door and listened for a long time, but the hallway was strangely quiet. Before she could catch her breath, heavy footsteps were slowly approaching. Open the door, you pervert. That's right, I am a pervert. The doctor was smashing the door frantically while yelling insults at Lindsay, because she'd not only pulled out the IV, but also smashed expensive equipment. So as punishment, the doctor would place Lindsay in the center of the human coil, making her endure double the pain from both sides. Hearing this, Lindsay was trembling with fear. But strangely, the doctor hadn't even finished speaking when he suddenly hurried away. At that moment, severe pain shot from her arm wound. Lindsay realized she had to find a way to save herself quickly. Otherwise, she'd lose too much blood and pass out again. Lindsay, thinking of this, grabbed the desk lamp, planning to smash the window and slip away. Fortunately, at a critical moment, Lindsay found the key. But the window was also smashed open by the doctor with a gun. Terrified, Lindsay ran around frantically. As a result, her footing gave way and she fell straight into the indoor pool. Before the splashing even settled, the doctor had already reached the poolside. He looked down at the pool from above, advising Lindsay not to waste her strength. Because this place had long been designed by him, there was absolutely no possibility of escaping. Then the doctor raised the tranquilizer gun, steadily aiming at the target in the water, advising Lindsay not to waste her strength. Because this place had long been designed by him, said, there was absolutely no possibility of escaping Fu. Then the doctor raised the tranquilizer gun, Fu, steadily aiming at the target in the water. The extreme fright forced Lindsay to hide at the bottom of the pool. But her behavior like this, there's nothing to say. Not only did they have no effect. Instead, Boo said, the doctor got more excited. Like he was savoring tormenting his prey, Boo said. Soon, Lindsay couldn't breathe anymore, said. We need to resurface, Boo said. Then just kill me. Fu. Lindsay said she'd rather die than endure surgery. Little did she know the doctor had read her mind. Since Lindsay was willing to surface, she didn't really want to die. As the doctor pressed a button, the pool's dust barrier slowly unfolded. If Lindsay wanted to live, she had to scramble up fast. Otherwise, the pool would be totally sealed off. Facing this, Boo said he didn't expect Lindsay to actually calm down. Boo said she took a deep breath and dove back in. The partition was about to seal completely, but Lindsay didn't surface. Luckily, at this critical moment, Boo said, the house's electrical system malfunctioned, Boo said. And this gave Lindsay a chance to escape, Boo said. While the doctor was checking the power, Boo said. She quickly climbed up through an unsealed partition, Boo said. At that moment, Lindsay noticed a raging storm outside, Boo said. Looks like the blackout was probably from lightning, said. Although the doctor had smashed the window earlier. She didn't plan to escape alone, Boo said. Boo said, but instead hurried to the basement. Boo said, and dragged out Jenny, already under deep anesthesia. She used all her strength, Boo said. Moving her step by step up the stairs, Boo said. Then she struggled to pull her out through the window, Boo said. But before she could celebrate, a sharp pain shot through her back, Hang said. Then a strong numbness quickly spread, said. And she soon collapsed on the ground again, said. Boo said. The clever Lindsay was taken back to the basement. The doctor, having fixed the circuit, didn't delay any longer. He directly pulled out their front teeth, Boo said. As for what happened next, it really can't pass review, said. We won't go into detail here, Boo said. But the doctor's skills were indeed impressive, Boo said. Without anyone's assistance, Boo said. He operated alone for a day and a night, Boo said. And finally stitched the three of them together perfectly, Boo said. Boo said, less than half a month later. The stitched wounds had gradually healed. Height thought it was time to wake them up, Boo said. I did it, Boo said. The three who woke up were completely terrified, but no matter how they cried and begged, the doctor remained unmoved. After all, in his mind at that moment, Boo said, there was only admiration for his own superb medical skills, Boo said. But what's even more terrifying is, the success of this surgery doesn't mean the end, Boo said. It's just the small beginning of his twisted path, Boo said. Boo said, because relying only on nutrient solution to sustain life is far from his ultimate goal, said. So the next day, he started training the little one, Boo said. He told him to fetch the newspaper on command. Yeah, good boy, Boo said. Field, Boo said. Forget it, let me teach you to walk first, Boo said. Go to hell. 1, 2, 1, Boo said. Time to eat. The doctor set down the pre-made stainless steel dog bowl right in front of little Musy, Boo said. Starved for days, he didn't care about dignity, Boo said. He grabbed the food and stuffed it in his mouth. Boo said. Seeing no resistance, Boo said. The doctor finally went back to the table, satisfied, and said, he started enjoying his steak lunch. Boo said, but what he didn't expect was, little Musy was far from as obedient as he looked. Boo said, just a moment of carelessness, he said, and the doctor got a vicious bite. If there's a next time, I swear, Boo said. I'll pull out every single one of your teeth, Boo said. After the meal, the doctor immediately drove the three out to the yard to crawl. He said it would help little Mootsy's digestion, Boo said. Boo said, only when he excretes normally. Can Lindsay in the middle have something to eat? Boo said. It's coming out. Sorry, Boo said. Forgive me, Boo said. A few days later, the doctor gave the three a checkup. Boo said. He found little Reezy at the front was very healthy, Boo said. But Lindsay in the middle, Boo said, had been constipated from not being used to the food. Boo said. This meant Jenny at the very back hadn't eaten anything recently, and her wound had already festered and gotten infected. Boo said. Littletail, your condition is terrible. I don't think you'll last much longer. Maybe I should replace you. A sudden doorbell rang, he said, and the doctor's heart sank. Boo said. He said he bought the house because he liked how remote the location was. So under normal circumstances, no one would ever show up. Hello, Mr. Height, he said. We're police, he said. This is my assistant. I'm Clance, he said. Can we come in, he said. Sure, go ahead. The doctor seemed very cordial, but that was actually a sign of guilt, he said. Fortunately, the basement had already been soundproofed, he said. No matter how much Shalmuzi screamed for help, he said, you couldn't hear a thing from upstairs, he said. Detective Clance got straight to the point, saying they'd found a car with a blown tire nearby, he said. According to the rental agency, he said, the two female tourists who rented the car had been missing for 3 weeks. The only house nearby belonged to the doctor. That's why they came here to investigate. When questioned by the police, he said, the doctor naturally wouldn't tell the truth, he said. But since the police were already onto him, he said, he had to get rid of this problem as soon as possible, he said. So the doctor repeated his old trick, he said. Secretly drugging the cap while turning to pour water, he said. At that point, the detective noticed the iron cage in the house, he said. Seeing this, the doctor quickly explained that he used to keep several large dogs, but they all died of distemper recently. That's why the cage was so big, he said. During the conversation, the assistant took a sip of water, he said, but he didn't let his guard down around the doctor, so he just carefully took a small sip. Although this seemed like a normal move, he said, it actually set up what was to come later. Clance had planned to keep pressing, but the doctor suddenly lost patience, he said. After all, his research was at a critical stage, he said. He had no time to waste on them, he said. Please finish this glass of water, then get out of my house. I still have work to do. Drink it up. Drink it up. You insulted me. Just wait, we'll see each other in court. You can both just wait to lose your jobs. The doctor's strange behavior only deepened their suspicion of him. Realizing he'd lost his composure, the doctor quickly explained that he'd been doing medical research lately, and the pressure had been so intense that he couldn't control his emotions for a moment. Then he made an excuse to go get a towel, turned, and left the living room. On the surface, he was trying to ease the tension, but in reality, he hurried down to the basement and quietly prepared 2 syringes of anesthetic. I found 2 stronger replacements. So cherish your last moments with Littletail. After the doctor went upstairs, little Moosey spotted a scalpel nearby. Enduring the sharp pain, he finally grabbed it in his hand. Meanwhile, the doctor upstairs was crouching on the floor cleaning up broken glass. The detective asked to search the house, but was quickly refused by the doctor on the spot. Do you have a search warrant? I can get one in 15 minutes. I'll ask you one more time. What's actually in the basement? You should know what you're doing is illegal. Can I call the police? As long as you have a warrant, you can look anywhere you want. The anesthetic needle accidentally fell out, but the doctor didn't even flinch. He said it was just insulin. He has severe diabetes himself, and was about to give himself an injection. The detective was skeptical, but he couldn't tell what kind of drug it was just by looking. But one thing he was sure of was that this house was definitely suspicious. They had to go to the station first to get a search warrant, then come back to continue the investigation. After making sure the police were gone, the doctor immediately ran back to the basement, planning to move his work. But when he got to the ward, he found it completely empty. The doctor was just about to check the other rooms when, suddenly the little Japs hiding behind the door ambushed him. A sharp scalpel stabbed into his thigh, leaving the doctor unable to move. Not satisfied enough, the little Japs bit off a whole chunk of skin from his neck. The doctor was in so much pain he couldn't move. The little Jap then told his two buddies to scramble upstairs. Their stitches kept ripping, but they didn't stop. They kept climbing, moving in sync. The doctor caught up behind. His leg wound was deep. Plus, he was old and frail, so he climbed slowly. When he finally reached the first floor, he found the little Jap smashing glass with a lamp. But this time, the doctor was ready. He put in tougher tempered glass. After all that smashing, only a few cracks showed. After all that torture, the little Jap was nearly broken. He remembered kicking his elderly parents out and abandoning his son for not earning money. He believed all this was happening now was divine punishment. He grabbed glass and ended it. The doorbell rang again. 2 cops came back. The doctor knew he was caught, so he grabbed a scalpel and hid, ready to fight. The detective waited, then they kicked the door in. They started searching separately. The partner drank the drugged water, and the drug hit him at the pool. The detective searched his way over and found the twins barely alive. Before he could process it, a gunshot rang out from next door, and the detective rushed toward it, but he was too late. The doctor killed the partner and taken his gun. Luckily, the detective was a better shot and put a bullet right through the doctor's forehead. But his wounds were too severe. He fell into the pool and went still. Meanwhile, Jenny had stopped breathing from starvation and infection. The whole house fell silent. Only Lindsay was left, gasping for air in despair. That's the end of the story. A lot of people watch this and feel disgusted, but they miss what makes Dr. Height so terrifying. There's a famous concept called the banality of evil. Philosopher Hannah Arendt came up with it. She found that people who commit atrocities usually aren't obvious monsters. They're just regular people sitting at desks, methodically following orders. The detective waited, but no one opened the door, so they kicked it in and started searching separately with his partner. Dr. Heider is the perfect embodiment of this kind of evil, Boo says. He redefined murder as handling and packaged extreme experiments as scientific research, Boo says. He saw the human centipede as a medical milestone, Boo says. Even until death, he firmly believed, Boo says, that he was creating a medical miracle, she says. That he was completing a great work of art. Because in his cognitive framework, there's essentially no difference between separating and stitching. It's just a medical practice of refining technique, Boo says. But if one day medicine truly stops revering life, then I'm afraid